Sarah, owner of The Daily Grind, stared at her sales figures. Another slow month. Her artisanal coffee shop, a dream born from passion, was struggling to break even. She offered quality, comfort, and a friendly face, but customers seemed hesitant, often opting for the cheapest option or walking away entirely. The competition, a soulless chain down the street, somehow thrived despite offering inferior products. Sarah knew she had to change something, but what? The answer, she hoped, lay hidden in the mysterious world of pricing psychology. One evening, deep into market research, Sarah stumbled upon a concept that promised a breakthrough: the decoy pricing effect. The idea was simple, elegant, and seemingly brilliant: introduce a third option, a decoy, to influence choices between two existing options. It sounded like magic, a secret weapon to nudge customers towards her higher margin items. The examples she read online made it seem foolproof. This was it, she thought, the solution to all her problems, the key to unlocking her shop's true potential. Sarah's initial dive into decoy pricing led her straight into myth 1. The decoy is always a slightly worse, more expensive version of your target item, she thought. If I want people to buy my premium latte, I'll just create an even more premium, slightly absurd option that no one would buy, but makes the true premium look reasonable. So, she concocted the Grand Indulgence, a ridiculously oversized, super sweet latte with extra toppings, priced exorbitantly high. The idea was to make her standard artisan latte seem like a steal. She proudly launched her new menu. But instead of flocking to the artisan latte, customers either stuck with the cheapest drip coffee or, surprisingly, seemed even more confused. Some even asked, who would ever buy the Grand Indulgence? The presence of the absurd option didn't make the artisan latte appealing, it just made Sarah's entire pricing structure seem out of touch. Sales for the artisan latte didn't budge, and her overall revenue remained stagnant. Her grand plan was backfiring spectacularly. The truth behind myth 1 is that decoy pricing isn't about creating an obviously bad, expensive choice, it's about shifting relative value. The decoy's purpose is to highlight a specific advantage of the target option, making it look superior in comparison. Sarah's Grand Indulgence was too extreme, it lacked relevance. It didn't make her artisan latte look better, it just made itself look silly. The decoy must make the target option appear significantly more attractive in terms of price, features, or value, creating a clear preference. Frustrated but determined, Sarah reached out to a mentor, David, who ran a successful patisserie. David listened patiently, then shared his own experiences. Sarah, he said, the decoy isn't a throwaway option. It needs to be a plausible choice, even if few pick it. Its main job is to make your intended item shine. Think of it as a subtle spotlight, not a giant flashing arrow. His words resonated, hinting at a deeper nuance she'd missed. The decoy wasn't a trick, it was a tool for clearer comparison. Armed with David's advice, Sarah began to re-evaluate her understanding, confronting myth 2, the decoy always has to be clearly inferior to the target ***. She initially believed the decoy had to be a bad deal to push people away. But what if it wasn't about pushing away, but about pulling towards? David explained, sometimes, the decoy makes a more expensive option look even better, or a less attractive option look worse relative to the target. It's about setting up the comparison point, not just creating a loser option. The true principle at play here is asymmetric dominance, or the attraction effect. The decoy doesn't have to be inferior, it just needs to be asymmetrically dominated by the target option ***. This means the decoy is worse than the target on at least one attribute and no better than the target on any attribute. Crucially, it must also be inferior to another option in the set, but not asymmetrically dominate it. It's a delicate balance, making one option clearly superior to the decoy, but not necessarily to all others. With this clarified understanding, Sarah revamped her coffee menu. Instead of the absurd Grand Indulgence, she created the Daily Brew Combo, a medium drip coffee with a small pastry, priced slightly higher than her premium artisan latte alone. The artisan latte, her target, was now seen as a superior coffee experience for a better standalone price. The combo wasn't a bad option, but it wasn't strictly better than the artisan latte, especially if you only wanted coffee. This subtle shift began to yield results. Slowly but surely, customers began gravitating towards the artisan latte. Sarah saw a noticeable uptick in its sales. The combo itself sold occasionally, proving it wasn't completely unappealing, but its primary function as a decoy was working. Yet, she noticed inconsistencies. Some days, the effect was profound, other days, less so. Her mind raced with new questions. Was this effect universal? Did it work on everyone? Or was there something else at play that determined its effectiveness? This led Sarah to myth 3, decoy pricing works on everyone, all the time, regardless of context. She had initially assumed that once implemented correctly, the decoy would universally steer all customers. But human behavior is rarely that predictable. She observed different customer segments reacting differently. The young professionals seemed more swayed, while the regulars often stuck to their tried and true choices. It wasn't a magic spell cast upon the entire customer base. It was something far more nuanced and dependent on various factors. The reality is, decoy pricing depends heavily on context, customer demographics, product type, and cognitive load. People under time pressure or with high cognitive load are more susceptible to the effect because they rely on simpler decision-making heuristics. Savvy, price-sensitive customers, or those with strong brand loyalties, might be less influenced. The decoy effect isn't a universal lever, it's a subtle nudge that works best when mental resources are stretched or when choices are inherently complex. Its effectiveness wanes when choices are clear or personal preferences are strong. Sarah started observing her customers with new eyes. She noticed the busy morning commuters, rushing to work, often made quick decisions, easily swayed by the simplified choice architecture. The afternoon regulars, however, often lingered, deliberating over their order, sometimes asking questions that revealed a deeper analysis of the options. This insight allowed her to understand when and on whom the decoy effect was most potent. It wasn't a failure if it didn't work on everyone, it was simply a tool with specific applications. As Sarah gained a deeper understanding, a new concern arose. Was she, in essence, manipulating her customers? This led her to grapple with myth 4, decoy pricing is a manipulative trick designed to rip people off. The term decoy itself carried a negative connotation, suggesting deception. She questioned if she was being ethical by subtly influencing choices. Her goal was always to provide value and a great experience, not to trick people into spending more than they wanted. This internal conflict weighed heavily on her mind. The truth is, decoy pricing, when used ethically, is not a manipulative trick but a tool for guiding customers through complex choices. Humans often struggle with evaluating absolute value. Decoys provide a reference point, making comparisons easier and helping customers identify the option that best suits their needs and perceived value. It's about choice architecture, presenting options in a way that helps people make decisions they are ultimately happy with. It can reduce cognitive friction, leading to a more satisfying customer experience, not a feeling of being ripped off. Sarah realized the key was transparency and genuine value. Her artisan latte was a high-quality product, offering a superior taste and experience. The Daily Brew combo was also a legitimate offer, just with a different value proposition. By using the decoy, she wasn't forcing a choice, she was simply highlighting the value proposition of her artisan latte more clearly. When customers felt they were getting good value for their money, they felt satisfied, not exploited. This distinction brought immense relief and clarity. With renewed confidence, Sarah's business started to flourish. The artisan latte sales steadily climbed, and customer satisfaction seemed higher. But the entrepreneurial spirit doesn't rest. She wondered if her current setup was truly optimal. This led her to question myth 5. Once you set a decoy, you're done. It's a static solution. She saw businesses constantly tweaking their offerings, and knew that customer preferences and market dynamics were constantly shifting. Could a static pricing strategy truly hold its ground in a dynamic world? The reality is that decoy pricing requires continuous testing, iteration, and adaptation to market changes and customer feedback. What works today might not work tomorrow. Consumer tastes evolve, competitors adjust their prices, and new products emerge. Successful businesses constantly monitor their sales data, conduct A/B testing on pricing structures, and gather customer insights. The decoy, like any effective business strategy, is a living, breathing component that needs regular evaluation and refinement to maintain its effectiveness and relevance. Sarah implemented a system to track sales of each menu item weekly. She paid attention to customer comments, even casual ones about pricing or value. Every few months, she would slightly tweak an offering or its price, testing the waters. Perhaps a seasonal decoy would work wonders, or a loyalty program tie-in. These small, consistent adjustments ensured her pricing remained optimized, keeping the daily grind competitive and profitable. This iterative approach became a cornerstone of her success. As the daily grind expanded its offerings to online ordering and a subscription service, Sarah found the principles of decoy pricing translated seamlessly. For her coffee bean subscriptions, she offered 3 tiers: a small bag, a large bag, and a monthly discovery box, the decoy. The discovery box was priced to make the large bag subscription look like the clear, best value for regular coffee drinkers, while still being an appealing option for adventurous customers. The principles held true across different platforms. Sarah's journey from confusion to clarity revealed the decoy pricing effect not as a mystical, manipulative trick, but as a sophisticated understanding of human psychology. It's about how we perceive value, how we compare options, and how context shapes our decisions. The decoy, when crafted with intent and ethical consideration, can be a powerful tool to simplify choices, enhance perceived value, and ultimately, help customers make more informed decisions they feel good about. It's about presenting options smartly. This principle isn't confined to coffee shops. Think about software subscriptions: a basic plan, a premium plan, and a pro plan. The pro plan, often slightly better than premium but disproportionately more expensive, might be the decoy, making premium look like the obvious sweet spot. Or movie theater popcorn: small, medium, and large. The medium is often priced so close to the large that the large suddenly seems like an incredible deal, even if you didn't initially want that much popcorn. Decoys are everywhere. A common thread in effective decoy pricing is the presentation of 3 options. 2 options often lead to a direct, rational comparison, which can make the decision difficult if there isn't a clear winner. Introducing a third option, the decoy, shifts the cognitive process. Instead of simply comparing A and B, the brain now evaluates A against C, and B against C. This asymmetric dominance effect often makes one of the original options, the target, suddenly stand out as the most logical, value-rich choice. Ultimately, the decoy pricing effect underscores a fundamental truth: customers don't just buy products, they buy value. And value is inherently subjective and relational. A product's perceived worth isn't just about its intrinsic qualities but how it stacks up against alternatives. The decoy doesn't change the product's actual price or quality, it changes the frame of reference through which the customer evaluates that price and quality. This reframing is where the true power of the decoy lies, in shaping perception. Back at the daily grind, the artisan latte, once a slow seller, now stands as a testament to Sarah's persistence and newfound wisdom. It's not just a coffee, it's a carefully positioned experience, made possible by understanding the subtle dance of pricing psychology. Sarah didn't just boost her sales, she transformed her entire approach to business, embracing continuous learning and ethical influence. Her story reminds us that even complex psychological principles can be demystified and harnessed for positive outcomes. So, what can we take away from Sarah's journey? For businesses, it means moving beyond simplistic interpretations of psychological pricing. It's about deep customer understanding, thoughtful experimentation, and a commitment to ethical practice. For consumers, it's about becoming more aware of how choices are presented to us, not to feel exploited, but to make truly informed decisions that align with our own values and needs. The decoy effect isn't just a trick, it's a window into how our minds make sense of the world. The next time you're faced with a menu, a subscription plan, or an online shopping cart, pause for a moment. Look for the 3 options. Can you identify the decoy? Can you see how one option is subtly made to shine brighter than the others? Understanding these underlying mechanisms empowers you, not just as a consumer, but as someone who can better navigate the complex world of choices presented every day. The decoy pricing effect, once a mystery, can now be seen as a fascinating aspect of our human decision-making process. Ultimately, the decoy pricing effect reminds us of the immense power of contextual influence. Our decisions are rarely made in a vacuum. They are shaped by the environment, by the alternatives presented, and by the subtle cues that guide our perception of value. Businesses that master this understanding can create more intuitive and satisfying customer journeys, while consumers can become savvier navigators of their own choices. It's a win-win when approached with integrity and awareness. Let's summarize the key truths we've uncovered from busting these 5 myths. Firstly, the decoy shifts relative value. It's not just an expensive bad option. Secondly, it achieves asymmetric dominance, making one option clearly superior. Thirdly, its effectiveness is context-dependent, not a universal spell. Fourthly, it's an ethical guide for choices, not manipulation. And finally, it demands continuous iteration, not a static implementation. These insights are crucial for anyone looking to understand or utilize this powerful effect. From your morning coffee choice to your next big purchase, the principles of decoy pricing are constantly at play, subtly influencing your decisions. By understanding these mechanisms, you gain a new lens through which to view the world of commerce. Sarah's journey at the Daily Grind taught her that truly understanding human behavior, not just implementing quick fixes, is the pathway to sustainable success and genuine customer connection. What myths about pricing have you believed? Share your thoughts in the comments below.